I'm back. All right. Directions for how to do this assignment right here. So you're going to click on, you already have opened this. Let's go there. And then I'm going to hit, you don't need to see my screen. Here is the preview from this assignment. So where you're at right here is that you are seeing the directions. And so you're going to click on this. Now, here's the thing. I think it's easier if you select this, if you right click or 2-finger click on your mouse pad, right? If you're on a mouse pad and you copy it, go do a new tab and hit paste and pull this website up on a second tab. All right. Or you could even do the thing where you make this into 2 windows if you wanted to. All right, so that so it's just easier to work with. All right, so you're going to need 2 tabs or 2 windows open. Actually, you know what? I'm going to make it 2 windows. 1 second. I'm going to make this 2 windows by clicking this like this and resizing that way, and then bringing this one over here like this. There. I think it's easiest if I can go back and forth in between the 2 windows this way. All right, so I'm going to just show you directions on how to do this. If you want to, I suppose you could have this video open in a 3rd tab and just be going back and forth. So on your new attempt, it says question number 1, unfertilized honeybees become males. All right, so I'm going to go over here and I'm going to go over to the honeybee thing here. And it says the queen honeybee mates once to collect all the sperm she will need in her lifetime. Back at the hive, she uses the sperm to fertilize some eggs while leaving others unfertilized. Fertilized eggs become females and unfertilized eggs become males. One chosen female will be raised as the new queen. Okay, so this question says unfertilized eggs become males, and that's what it says right here. Unfertilized eggs become males. By the way, they do sexual reproduction. They do both types of reproduction. My bad. Because some of her eggs are fertilized and some are not. So she can do 1-parent reproduction actually to create the males, which is just super. Honeybees are really interesting anyway. So you read about the honeybee and then you answer the question and then you move on. Okay, so basically each one of these, you see this picture here is the pink salmon. So you're going to click on the pink salmon thing. You should read this. Do pink salmon reproduce sexually or asexually? So it tells you here, salmon live in the ocean, but they reproduce in freshwater streams. When they mature, they migrate upstream to the place where they were born. Many swim great distances and only the fittest salmon survive the journey. The female digs 1 or more nest holes in the stream bed. As she deposits her eggs, a male covers them with sperm. The salmon die soon after. So I think this is 2-parent reproduction, and I'm right because it turns green. So pink salmon reproduce sexually. Then I move on to the next one. Next one is a frog. Okay, if you've got the idea, you can stop this video and go get started. If you want to stick around, I'm going to go through all 22 questions on this video. So if you have questions about them, you could just watch the video and click along with me if you want to. That is another way that you could do this. All right. So the leopard frog. I'm just going to keep going here. Leopard frogs breed in ponds or streams. The male calls with his voice to attract the females. By the way, we'll get into frog calls this spring. He then grips the female tightly, triggering the release of her eggs and his sperm. Tiny tadpoles emerge shortly thereafter. Those that survive through metamorphosis become land-dwelling adult frogs. How does a male leopard frog attract a male? He has a call that he uses, right? That's what it said. And by the way, this is also sexual reproduction. Next one is the yeast, baker's yeast. Baker's yeast is a tiny single-celled fungus that makes bread dough rise and converts sugars into alcohol. This yeast reproduces by budding. As the small bud grows, it receives a copy of the parent's nucleus. When the bud pinches off, the new cell is smaller than the parent cell, but genetically identical. So is this sexual? Nope. Is it both? Nope. They do asexual reproduction. So baker's yeast reproduce asexually. Number five. Number five is the eagle. Eagles will watch Eagle Nest Cam all spring and how they lay their eggs and have their babies, and they mate for life, and it's kind of fun. Like most bird species, bald eagles mate for life. The female lays 1 to 3 eggs per year. Both male and female incubate the eggs, hunt for food, and maintain the nest. Their courtship involves elaborate calls and flight displays, including a tandem freefall in which the partners lock talons and separate just before hitting the ground. So bald eagles reproduce sexually, and they incubate eggs, and they mate for life. So it's all of these. All right. Number 6. We got the seahorses here. Where's the seahorse? It's right there. The seahorse is unique among fish. It mates for life with the same partner, and it's the dad who gets pregnant. A female deposits her eggs in the male's pouch. The male then carries the eggs for 2 to 4 weeks until they hatch. Muscle contractions help the male give birth to about 100 tiny baby seahorses. Male seahorses carry the eggs until they hatch. That is true. Okay. Number 7 is this brittle star. The brittle star, there are a couple thousand different species of brittle star. At certain times of the year, male and female stars release sperm and eggs into the ocean, but they can reproduce at other times too. They simply split in half and grow new body parts. This ability to regenerate can also help a brittle star escape a predator. So they can actually do both kinds. They can do releasing reproductive cells and regenerating. A brittle star only reproduces asexually. That's false. They do both. Number 8 is the sunflower. Like other flowering plants, the sunflower relies on insects for reproduction. Bees searching for nectar inadvertently pick up pollen and spread it from flower to flower. When sperm-filled pollen grains contact the stigma, they grow a pollen tube that reaches into the ovary. Sperm travel down the tube to fertilize an egg. The head of a single sunflower contains hundreds of tiny flowers that produce a seed. So they only do sexual reproduction. Sunflower pollen is the sperm of the plant, as it is for all plants. Number 9 is the monarch. So many of these are some of my favorite living things. The monarch butterfly mates in the spring just prior to its northward migration. After chasing the female to the ground, the male attaches to her and transfers a capsule filled with sperm and food. She journeys north, then lays her eggs on milkweed plants. The leaves then nourish her newly hatched larvae. Man, I can't read today. They only do sexual reproduction. So they mate in the spring, they reproduce sexually, and they lay eggs. All of these are true for the monarch. Number 10, we have the Salmonella Bacteria. Salmonella is a bacteria that causes food poisoning. In the small intestine, a single Salmonella cell divides in two, rapidly producing many copies of itself. The microscopic bacteria invade our cells, and our immune system responds. We experience fever, nausea, and diarrhea. It's not a good thing to have. Ooh, it's bad. They actually will do asexual reproduction is all that most bacteria can do. However, they do have another process where they can exchange what are called capsids, or little pieces of DNA, with other bacteria, which is crazy. How do Salmonella reproduce? They divide. They just do division, and that's all they do. Number 11, we have the giant amoebas. Where's the giant amoeba on this picture? Right here. Woo-hoo. Single-celled amoebas live in ponds and wet soil. To reproduce, they copy their DNA, and then the cell constricts in the middle and pinches apart. The two amoeba are exact copies of each other. When conditions are right, amoebae, that's the plural of amoeba, divide every 48 hours. So they only do asexual reproduction. Giant amoebas only reproduce asexually. That's true. They're little one-celled pond organisms. Number 12, we've got the giant redwood. Number 12, redwood trees are the really can't talk today, you guys. Redwood trees are the tallest and largest trees in the world. Like other conifers, the trees bear male and female cones that rely on the wind for pollination. New trees also sprout from large, shallow roots, generating a circle of trees identical to the parents. So giant redwoods are one of those that they do seeds, which is two-parent sexual reproduction, and they can kind of send up those underground runners that we call shoots. So they will have a whole bunch of babies all around the first one, and that's how they can spread really easily that way too. They actually do both types of reproduction. Okay, so they reproduce asexually with the runners and the shoots. They reproduce sexually by making seeds, eggs and sperm cells in their cones, and they bear cones. That's where they make their seeds instead of a flower. So all of these are true. All of these are true for the redwood. Volvox is an algae that reproduces only sexually. Let's find out. A volvox is a microscopic green algae that lives in pond water. Thousands of individual cells group together to form a hollow sphere called a colony. The spheres inside the colony are miniature clones of the parent. When they grow large enough, the parent colony falls apart and releases the spheres into the water. So these only do one parent reproduction. And so that's kind of cool. They make these little babies inside the original colony, and then when the baby gets big enough, it releases them. So they only reproduce sexually. That is false. They can only do asexual reproduction. Number 14 is a scorpion, a sand scorpion. Ooh. Sand scorpions dance together for several hours. When the male finds a good place to deposit a packet of sperm, he puts the female on top of it. When the dance is over, the female will occasionally sting her partner and make him her next meal. So if you're having a bad day, males, at least you're not a scorpion who's going to get eaten after the mating process. What mating behavior is displayed by scorpions? They dance. And then, yeah. So they only do sexual reproduction, by the way. Number 15, the flatback sea turtle lives off the coast of Australia. After mating at sea, the female returns to the same beach where she was born. That's kind of cool. And decades earlier, she then lays her eggs at night and buries them in the sand, hiding them from predators. 2 months later, more than 50 baby sea turtles emerge from the nest and head to the ocean. They can only do sexual reproduction. Do flatback sea turtles carry their babies for 2 months and then give birth? That's false. We just read about how they're going to the beach and laying eggs on the sand. Grizzly bears, number 16. Which of the following is not true about grizzly bears? Grizzly bears. I gotta move myself so I can read this. Grizzly bears mate during early summer. The male deposits his sperm inside the female to fertilize her eggs, but the eggs don't develop until the female begins hibernation. The mother will give birth to between 1 and 4 cubs. She won't reproduce again until the cubs leave her side about 3 years later. They only do sexual reproduction, which is not true. They reproduce asexually. That's not true. They only reproduce sexually, like that. Number 17 is the earthworm. The earthworm. The common earthworm has both male and female reproductive parts at the same time. To reproduce, 2 worms come together to exchange sperm. Each worm deposits its own eggs and the donated sperm into a gooey cocoon. And it leaves in the soil. Baby worms emerge a few weeks later. So they actually do sexual reproduction. So they are both male and female at the same time. So if they run into any other earthworm, they just exchange sperm, fertilize their eggs with the other worm's sperm, and then make this little gooey collar thing that comes off of the top of their head, leave it in the dirt, and then it hatches little baby earthworms. Isn't that crazy? So the question here says, although an earthworm has both male and female reproductive parts, there is an exchange of sperm between the 2 worms in order to reproduce. Number 18 is the whiptail lizard. This is crazy. This one's so crazy, you guys. This all-female whiptail species is able to reproduce without a male to fertilize her eggs. This is called a parthenogenesis. Females take turns playing the male during courtship and mating. After a false mating, the female from the mating pair will lay eggs. The daughters are identical to their mom. So is this sexual? Both types are asexual. This is actually asexual reproduction. Isn't that crazy? Whiptail lizards are able to reproduce without males. They're all females, and they just make clones of themselves in their eggs. Crazy. All right. Number 19, garden strawberries. The garden strawberry plant, let me get this so I can see it, grows modified stems called runners. You heard all about those in the notes. Along the runners, tiny new strawberry plants. I lost my place. Along the runners, tiny new strawberry plants take root. Each new plant is identical to the parent. Insect pollinators also visit strawberry flowers. Pollen from one flower joins the eggs of another to form the seeds. So this is actually, they can do both. They can produce the seeds and they can send out the runners. Garden strawberries do not reproduce. That's false. Number 20. We have the kangaroo. Red kangaroos can leap as far as 12 feet in one jump. When it's mating time, males box each other, kangaroo boxing, look it up, with their powerful jumping legs. The winning male deposits his sperm in the female where an egg is fertilized. After only 33 days, the undeveloped young is born. Safely tucked away in the mom's pouch, it will continue to grow for another 7 months. So they only do sexual reproduction. Male red kangaroos carry their young in their pouch. That is false. Number 21, we're almost done here. Seguiro Cactus. I hope I'm saying that right. Seguiro. Anybody who is from the Southwest, let me know if I'm saying that right. The Seguiro is a tree-like cactus that grows over 50 feet tall in desert areas of North America. The cactus flowers in the spring and relies mainly on bats for pollination. The flowers produce fleshy fruit filled with thousands of seeds, each one genetically unique. So this one actually is able to do two-parent reproduction with its flowers. Seguiro cactus seeds are all the same. That's false. It said they're genetically unique, which means they're all different. All right, and number 22 isn't on here. Do humans reproduce sexually or asexually? We are only capable of doing two-parent reproduction, although I think the bud thing would be real interesting if we could do that. All right, that's it. Submit this, and then you can quietly do something else until class is over, and have a fabulous day. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Bye.